I believe the 49ers are going to go 11-5 in 2020. Look, I'll admit it. I kind of can't believe I don't have them winning their division. The NFC West is a wild, wild place. We'll call it the wild, wild west. I could very easily see the 49ers going 12-4 or 13-3. I have them at 11-5, but it really would not be hard to convince me that they're going to do better than my prediction. Here's what's crazy about the 49ers. They lost two really good players, receiver Emmanuel Sanders and defensive tackle DeForest Buckner. But amazingly, in the first round of the NFL draft, they found a way to replace them with younger and cheaper options. They drafted defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw 14th overall, and they drafted receiver Brandon Ayuk 25th overall. It's like, wow, that's a big move. Now, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, two receivers, maybe banged up and missed week 1 against the Cardinals. And missing those two receivers is going to be a big blow. But they still have Kendrick Bourne. They also have receiver Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor's a guy who got hurt last year, so people tend to forget about him. He didn't really play, but he's a good little slot receiver. Trent Taylor deserves a little bit more respect than I think he's getting around the league. They've got a tight end, George Kittle. He's the best tight end in football. And that's why, in fact, that's why the Seahawks added Jamal Adams. That's why the Cardinals drafted Isaiah Simmons. They needed to find a way to try to have an effort to stop George Kittle. Now, here's what's great. Crazily this year, if somehow a team does find a way to stop George Kittle, then the 49ers have a counter now. They brought in another highly capable tight end, Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed has been constantly injured throughout his career, but I gotta say, if Jordan Reed is healthy, then he's terrifying. And it's entirely possible that Jordan Reed does stay healthy this year because he's a backup. And being a number 2 means he's going to get fewer reps and fewer chances to get hurt. The less he's on the field, the less likely it is he's going to have a really bad, really important injury. Now, there's another crazy replacement I haven't talked about yet. I talked about they replaced Emmanuel Sanders. They replaced DeForest Buckner. They also lost their longtime left tackle, Joe Staley. He retired. And really, round of applause for Joe Staley. What a great career he had. Very well done. Now, amazingly, the 49ers were able to trade for a new left tackle, Trent Williams from Washington. He's a star left tackle. He's a former Pro Bowler. And really the only reason that the 49ers were able to trade for him is because he hated Washington and he refused to play for that organization. And I just got to say, you have to give the 49ers general manager, John Lynch, a ton of credit. The moves he made this offseason were just amazing. He made move after move, finding a way, plugging holes left and right, going, we got this guy, we got that guy, wheeling and dealing. I just really, really admire and respect what John Lynch was able to pull off. Now, the 49ers also have 3 interesting running backs. They've got Raheem Mostert, they've got Tevin Coleman, and back from an injury, from tearing his ACL last year, like in training camp, either training camp or week 1, Jerick McKinnon. I think he tore his ACL in training camp, if I remember correctly. This is off the top of my head. He tore his ACL last year. He's a great receiving back, and no one's talking about Jerick McKinnon. He's going to be a fun returner to the 49ers, a guy I expected to do a lot of good stuff even last year. Now, the 49ers defense, oh boy, it is loaded. On the defensive line, they have Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, DJ Jones, and the guy I previously mentioned, Javon Kinlaw. They've got good linebackers, Quan Alexander, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. 3 solid corners, Emmanuel Mosley, Richard Sherman, and plus Ahkello Witherspoon if they're in a situation where they need 3 corners on the field. I'll be honest, as I talk about all the talent that the 49ers have, it's kind of hard for me to still say they're going to go 11-5. I'm going to stick with it. I trust my process. That's what I came up with. And I'll share. I never do this. I never talk about the games I have a team losing. These are the 5 games I have the 49ers losing this year. I have them losing week 1 to the Arizona Cardinals. It's a tough game. They're missing some dudes for week 1 with injuries. I have them losing to New England week 7, where they should not lose to New England, but I think New England is a really well-coached team that could steal a game week 7. I have the 49ers losing at Seattle week 8. I have week 10, they lose to New Orleans at New Orleans. And then week 13, I have Buffalo going into San Francisco and beating the 49ers. Now, week 13, if the Buffalo Bills can go into San Francisco and beat the 49ers. That's a crazy impressive win. I have it happening, but I recognize that my prediction might be a little bit out there. I might be crazy. These are all very, very close games that could really go either way. Now, maybe there's a Super Bowl hangover. That's kind of my get out of jail free card. Like, oh, well, they've got a Super Bowl hangover. They lost a Super Bowl. Maybe they won't be quite the same. Here's what I know for sure, though. The 49ers are going to be a ton of fun to watch this year. They're a team that's right on the cusp of maybe making it back to the Super Bowl. Like, what if we get a Super Bowl that's just another rematch where it's the 49ers and the Chiefs again this year? How surprised would you be if that happened? I really would not be that surprised. And if I'm wrong this year, if the 49ers do better than 11-5, first of all, I hope that 49ers fans can forgive me. And if I'm wrong, what's going to be fun is talking about the things that made me wrong. Why will I get my prediction wrong? It's going to be a fun year. I'm excited to watch the 49ers. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, by the way, is going to take another step forward. I haven't even talked about him yet. And I just can't wait to find out what goes on in San Francisco this year. They did an incredible job rebuilding their team and filling the holes that they found this offseason. And I'm really, really excited to watch the 49ers this year in 2020.